Imagine you're 24 years old, flying low over Baghdad in an A-10 Warthog, and a missile just ripped into your aircraft. Your cockpit explodes in white light, the jet shudders, the nose drops toward enemy-held streets, and every warning light in front of you starts flashing. Both hydraulic systems, dead, tail section, shredded by shrapnel, control of the aircraft, almost gone. You can eject over one of the most hostile cities on Earth, or somehow fly a 16-ton half-destroyed war machine more than 200 miles back to base, using nothing but raw muscle and a backup mode that has already killed other pilots. Captain Kim "Killer Chick" Campbell looks at her dying A-10 and makes a decision. I'm not ejecting over Baghdad. This is the true story of the A-10 pilot who refused to die and brought a broken jet home. It's April 7, 2003. American forces are pushing into Baghdad, fighting for key bridges and roadways that will decide how fast they can take the city. High above the chaos, two A-10 Thunderbolt II-2s carve through the air. Flight lead, Lieutenant Colonel Rick "Beano" Turner. His wingman, Captain Kim "Killer Chick" Campbell. Their job, close air support, dropping into the lowest, dirtiest part of the sky to help U.S. troops under fire. Ahead of them, a huge sandstorm. Visibility is terrible, the air is rough, and beyond that storm, they know Iraqi guns and missiles are waiting. Then the call comes. Yard 05, this is Advance 33. My guys are taking fire in the northern part of town. Grid is Mike Bravo, 3-96990. It's Lieutenant John Coke Blocker on the ground. His unit is dug in near a key bridge north of Baghdad, and now Iraqi Republican Guard soldiers are trying to blast them off it with RPGs and heavy weapons. Without help, they might lose the position. Turner doesn't hesitate. Copy, Yard 05 and 06 inbound. He and Campbell push their throttles forward and head straight into the storm. Inside the sandstorm, it's like flying through dirty fog. Dust hammers the canopy, instruments flicker, and the city below is completely hidden. Turner uses his stabilized binoculars to search for a break, any hole in the clouds. He finds one. He flips his A-10 inverted and pulls, dropping down through a narrow gap in the storm. A moment later, his voice comes through Campbell's headset. "All right, Casey, it's your turn." She rolls upside down and follows him through the gap, trusting her instruments and her lead. The dust thins. The light changes. They punch out beneath the storm layer, and Baghdad suddenly appears below. Black smoke rises from burning buildings. Flashes of explosions wink between city blocks. Tracer rounds arc across the streets like red and green comets. Somewhere ahead, under the cover of a river bridge, Iraqi troops are trying to kill Coke's men. The A-10s are now in position to stop them. On the ground, Iraqi soldiers hear the low, thunderous growl of A-10 engines. They look up through the haze and spot two gray Warthogs dropping into the fight. Anti-aircraft guns and rifles swing skyward. Triggers snap back. Inside Campbell's cockpit, a burst of flak explodes close enough to jolt her seat. Turner radios. Advance 33, Yard 05 and 06 in the area. Targets are under the bridge support, east side. He's already a mile ahead, setting up his attack. Yard 05 in from the north, he calls, diving low over the river. But Coke sees the problem from the ground. Yard 05 not effective. You need to come in from south to north. The Iraqis are hiding deep under the bridge, using concrete and steel as cover. From the north, the angles are wrong. The A-10s pull off, swing wide, and line up from the south, flying low along the Tigris River. Turner makes the call. Wedge, shooters, guns. Copy. Campbell replies, sliding into formation. Bombs are too risky with friendly troops and civilians in the area. They'll use the A-10's most feared weapon instead, the GAU-8 Avenger 30-bow Naui cannon, forward-firing and brutally accurate. Through the smoke, the bridge appears like a gray shadow. 1 is ready. 2 is ready. Turner fires first. The battlefield is drowned in the monster roar of the GAU-8 as a flood of 30 Muatalem shells slams into the supports and earth around the bridge. He pulls up. Campbell's turn. She steadies her aim and pulls the trigger. For 4 seconds, Her cannon rips the target area apart. Concrete, dirt, and debris exploding under the bridge. She roars overhead and climbs away through incoming fire. Seconds later, Coke comes back, calm but grim. Yard 05, no joy on target. We are still taking fire. I request another gun run on that target again. The Iraqis are still there, still shooting, still hidden under the bridge. Turner and Campbell regroup and try again. Another run, another torrent of 30 Balanim rounds. Same answer from Coke. The enemy is still under the bridge. The GIU-8 isn't getting deep enough into the shadows. They need a different weapon. Turner decides to use Hydra 70 rockets. Unguided, small individually, but deadly in a volley. Stand by. I'll go first, he says. He drops low over the water, flying straight at the bridge. With unguided rockets, it's all about aim. The jet must face the target directly and hold steady. His reticle settles under the bridge. He fires. Rockets streak from the A-10 in white trails, smashing into the structure and throwing up a wall of explosions. For a moment, it looks like it might have worked. Then Coke's voice cuts in. Negative, negative. Didn't go in, just impacted on the surface. Turner clears Campbell. Cleared hot, too. 2 is in from the south, she answers, diving to repeat his attack. She follows the same path, same low run along the river, same target under the bridge. She lines up her sight and unleashes her hydras. Rockets blast off in rapid succession, racing toward the hiding place of the Iraqi troops. She pulls up and banks left to escape the heaviest fire. But this time, the enemy is ready. On the ground, an Iraqi soldier shoulders a 9K-34 Strela 3-man portable missile launcher. He tracks the A-10, waits for the tone, and fires. A thin white smoke trail leaps up from the city streets toward Campbell's Warthog. The missile closes the distance in seconds. She never sees it coming. It detonates close to her tail. Her canopy is engulfed in a bright flash. The aircraft bucks violently, and the nose pitches down toward the streets of Baghdad. On the radio, someone shouts, "Oh shit! 2 got hit! 2 got hit!" The Iraqis below cheer. They think they've just killed an A-10. Inside the cockpit, it's chaos. The A-10 is nose down, dropping toward hostile streets. Alarms scream in Kim's ears. Her instrument panel is lit up with red. One light stands out. Master caution. Next to it, both hydraulic warnings are on. She checks the gauges. Hydraulic pressure on both systems. 0. In most aircraft, that's game over. No hydraulics means almost no control. She yanks the stick, trying to roll back toward the American-held side of the river. Nothing. The jet barely responds. Kim knows her options. Option 1. Eject over Baghdad, into a city full of enemy troops who just watched her aircraft get hit. Option 2. Switch to manual reversion flight control system, a brutally hard backup mode that disconnects the normal hydraulic assist and gives her limited, very heavy control. Manual reversion is rare and dangerous. In Desert Storm, 3 pilots tried to land in manual. 1 died trying. But ejecting is not a simple, safe choice either. She knows the ejection seat is designed for heavier pilots, and for someone her size, the forces could be devastating. She makes her call. I'm not ejecting over Baghdad. She flips the switch to manual reversion. The jet's behavior changes instantly. The controls become heavy, stubborn, slow. She grabs the stick with both hands and hauls left and back. Very slowly, the A-10 begins to respond. The nose lifts. The aircraft starts to roll, inching away from the enemy-held side of Baghdad, back toward the river and safer ground beyond it. She's still in the fight. Barely. As she claws her way upward, tracer rounds still reach for her from the ground. Turner's voice breaks through the noise. Chaffs! Flares! She hits the countermeasures, flares spitting from the aircraft as she fights to gain altitude. Finally, they break back above the clouds, away from the worst of the ground fire. Kim's right arm starts to burn from the effort of holding and moving the stick in manual reversion. She swaps to her left hand and keeps going. Turner pulls in beside her damaged jet to see how bad it is. Yard 06. It's still 200 miles to the base, he warns. How is she flying in manual? Don't push it. Friendlies below if you need to get out. Kim remembers the waiver about ejection seats and small pilots. Staying with the jet might be just as survivable as punching out, maybe more. She keys the mic. Affirm Yard 05. Can you give me eyes on damage? What do you see back there? Turner takes a long look. Her A-10 is shredded. Hundreds of holes run along the fuselage and tail. A football-sized chunk is missing from the right horizontal stabilizer. The right engine and tail are peppered with shrapnel. He even sees flickers of flame. He decides not to dump all that on her at once. You have some improved ventilation aft, he says dryly. But it is still airworthy. Copy Yard 05. Her mind is made up. I can handle it. I'll take her home. I'm with you all the way, he replies. To reduce the risk of explosion and lighten the aircraft for landing, she jettisons her remaining weapons over the desert. But the heavy electronic countermeasures pod on one wing is hardwired. She can't release it. So now she's flying a badly damaged, unbalanced A-10 with no hydraulics in manual reversion for nearly an hour. Every second is work. No autopilot. No relaxing grip. Just constant physical effort to keep the Warthog in the sky. At last, the runway at Al Jaber Air Base in Kuwait appears in the distance. One final challenge remains. Landing a wrecked A-10 with no hydraulics in manual reversion after a missile hit. Kim reaches for the emergency gear handle and pulls. For a moment, nothing. Then the gear indicators finally show green. Yard 06, emergency. Gear down. Full stop. She calls over the radio. She slows the aircraft. At a slightly lower speed, the controls feel just a bit more manageable. Still heavy, but not impossible. She lines up for final approach. The damaged tail, ripped up surfaces, and the uneven weight of the ECM pod all fight against her. 60 feet above the runway, the A-10 suddenly rolls hard to the left, as if it's trying to flip over at the last second. Her heart jumps. She yanks the stick to the right with everything she has left. The wounded Warthog grudgingly obeys, leveling just in time. Moments later, the wheels slam into the runway. The aircraft shudders, bounces, then settles and roars down the tarmac. She's down. Alive. Thank you, God, she whispers. On the radio, her fellow pilots erupt, cheering, stunned, barely believing what she has just done. The A-10 she flew that day will never fly again. The damage is too severe. But Kim Campbell? She's back in the air the very next day. For her actions over Baghdad on April 7, 2003, Captain Kim Killer Chick Campbell receives the Distinguished Flying Cross for extraordinary airmanship and courage. A missile-hit jet with no hydraulics. Manual reversion for 200 miles. A landing that should have been impossible. And a pilot who simply refused to give up.